Welcome welcome all. We are back with week 9 of the NFL Millie Roundtable. As always, I'm joined by former Millie Maker winner and also a birthday special for our guy Felix. Happy birthday, man. Hope you had a good one.
Oh, yeah. Turned the old 37, and we went to the Blind Pelican, had some crazy Bloody Marys, sorry. Good Saturday so far.
Absolutely. Sounds a lot better than my Saturday. I just scarfed down Wendy's before the show and watched a ton of college football, NBA, and then we have Game 7 of the World Series, Felix, going on right now, which I can't wait to head out. I'm not trying to speed through this show or anything like that, but we also have UC football starting at 10:15. Needless to say, I'm hoping to catch the last 3 innings and the UC football game after this show. So trying to get it in under an hour. We do have 11 games to talk about. I just kind of want to sum up last week. Last week, I think we had a lot of good takes there. I know I had a few of top 1% finishes in that Millie Maker. And it was good to kind of get that rhythm a little bit. I think I actually had a decent Sunday for, what felt like the first time in a while, which a while could be 2 weeks, then followed it up with a good Monday. But how was yours, Felix?
This is probably my most successful year so far. So I'm going to contribute to being on this show. And I had a pretty good weekend. Of course, again, I did fade Saquon the 1 week that he finally popped off. But even my hurt sacks did okay with my other plays I had in there.
Yeah, I will say I ran really good on Goddard getting 2 touchdowns. It was looking very bleak there for a bit. But with the amount of Eagles, with the amount I bumped up Goddard and all them, I was actually very overweight on both Cook and Saquon, and it led to a good day. And Felix, I did get 10K last night in NBA action. So NBA is full swing right now here at Run Pure Sports.
That's
we
awesome.
got tons of content every single day. I do all the late night and showdown stuff for us here, but did it in the main slate on FanDuel. I had 3 top 10s this week in different slates. I had just insane ROIs throughout the entire week on Sabre. It was finally nice to get get one across the line, Felix. For the first time, though, it wasn't like an outrageous ROI. The whole time I was kind of holding steady at a 50,000 ROI, and it can go up to 150,000 or 100,000 stuff. And it didn't look like it was going to be 100% a slam dunk win. Like a couple of the other slates were almost looking like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it makes it worth it. It makes talking about these slates worth it.
Yeah.
And we hope to get similar success in the NFL. I have been making a running joke over the last few weeks that I've already had more sweats in NBA than I've had in NFL. I'm hoping to not make that true. We're only 10 days in the NBA or whatever, and I already have more sweats there, which is true. Trying to absolutely turn around the wagon here. Felix, we're going to go ahead and start with a key game here. In the AFC North, we got the Bengals hosting the NFC North Chicago Bears, and some big news just hit yesterday. It's DeAndre Swift, who is out for this one, and that is going to create a very, very chalk option at the running back position. And honestly, with the way the Bengals play defense, it's good chalk, and that's Kyle Monangai. And I'm not sharing my screen. I have 2 Sabre Sims up. Let's hopefully I hit the right one, and we did. I'd have all my NBA builds up if it was the other one. But Monangai is going to be one of the best running back plays on the entire slate. And also this game in general, especially with Flacco's status a little bit up in the air right now, it is going to it could be an absolute banger of a game, because what did we see the Jets do last week, Felix? Put up points.
Massive points, yeah. They put up, what was it? How many? I don't know how many points it was. It was 40 plus and like 500 yards total, right? Something along those lines.
Yep. So the Jets won 39-38.
39. Okay. Yeah.
They went for 2 when it was 38-30.
That was smart.
38-32. And, I can hate on Aaron Glenn as much as I want, but anyone who said, I don't get it, well, now you get it. They got to win out of it and didn't really have to struggle in overtime when neither team could really stop anyone until Flacco kind of got banged up.
That was without Garrett Wilson. So, if they could do it with a bunch of nobodies, you could do it with Chicago's studs at wide receiver. So I'm going to play the Monangai. You can't fade the chalk these days. It feels like completely, but I'm still going to push it through the good wide receivers they have there against the subpar Bengals defense. It should be another shootout. This is going to be a game you want to own a lot of pieces from.
You're being too kind when you say subpar. pardon my French, but we are absolutely shite. I mean, that is just the pure, honest discussion around this Bengals defense. And, it kills you because Lou Anarumo is with the Colts right now, absolutely killing it. He's the defensive coordinator for a long time here in Cincinnati. It's a talent issue at this point. Al Golden, who had a great defense at Notre Dame, he's sucking right now in terms of as a defensive coordinator. So it just becomes a lack of talent, and the Bengals don't got that. And you're exactly right. This is a spot for the Chicago Bears to score a lot of points. You'd hope, right? We have seen Caleb Williams struggle in some nut spots before. My only question regarding this Bears team, because I think we're both going to be on board on Monangai, right? Being one of the best players. Hard to avoid at 4,600.
Yeah.
What two wide receivers are you most interested on the Chicago side? And then on the Bengals side, would you be interested in Jamar Chase with Flacco's health issues? It looks like he's going to start, by the way.
So there's a few value spots this week, so you can afford Jamar Chase, no problem. So I'm personally, if Flacco's in, I'll probably say 90% Chase, if not all of my lineups will have Jamar Chase in them. Just because the dude's what, like 15 targets a game plus, like to the number one wide receiver. How how do you pass that up? It's monster numbers. It's the easiest floor, and Chicago doesn't present like this huge issue defensively. So I'm gonna smash Jamar if Flacco's playing. And then on the other side, I'm going to play Rome Odunze like always. And then I'll probably go 75-25 Zacchaeus and more.
Yeah, that's the thing. So basically with this Bears situation, right, we've had in recent times where it's been kind of confusing in the wide receiver room. However, with no Luther Burden this week, it does kind of clean it up in the sense of Zacchaeus being a main option, and you got DJ Moore. So it makes the stacks a little bit cleaner. And I still think, even at 6,600 here, Felix, Odunze is going to come in under-owned. I think the game log is going to catch a lot of people lacking, and this is a good spot as we've seen.
Yeah, Odunze, he's not getting enough credit for what he's doing this year. Maybe it's because the Bears aren't like outright being dominant, and he's just producing every week. Producing, and showing that he is the number one there. It's no more DJ Moore. He's the clear number two. They are running it through Odunze.
One last question on this game for you, Felix. With this one being so good, I do want to touch on a lot of points. As we get our guy P. Lally mentions, Kmet is back. Loveland in the mix too. Zacchaeus and Loveland, both 3,300 though. Would you say that those are very good values on this slate?
Both good values. I'd probably lean more to Zacchaeus just because Kmet's back, and it might muddy the water a little bit.
Absolutely there. One other question too: CMC or Jamar Chase, if you were to pick on this slate?
If you can't get both, I'm going Jamar Chase and then C-Mac.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I'm with you on Jamar Chase. The targets are going to be there. Flacco is starting. Lots to like. As far as Chase Brown goes, 5,900, I think it's kind of getting slightly up there with the offense the way it is. T. Higgins, same way. The volume just not going to be there. That's why we love Jamar Chase, because the volume is 100% guaranteed with Joe Flacco at the helm. We'll move on to Denver and Houston. I got to say, Stroud has his best game of the year without Nico Collins. What's up with that? We did get Troy Franklin correct last week. That was the big thing. 10 targets a week before. Last week absolutely crushes with a couple of touchdowns, and it's good to see. And RJ Harvey finally has a breakout game. Yeah, 3 touchdowns and barely hit 24 fantasy. Something like that. It was kind of a shockingly low amount for 3 touchdowns. But what are your thoughts on this game here, Felix?
Yeah, that running back room is a hot mess. It's like get them all the way down to the 1 and then have Harvey score. It's weird there. I was hoping for more of a Mims breakout. That kind of killed me last week. I definitely made the mistake choosing Mims over Franklin in a couple best ball things, or else I probably would have taken down the dog bowl. But we were on the Troy Franklin bandwagon a little bit, so we're on set over Sutton. At this week, I don't know is the number one quarter Surtain playing this week? I don't know about all that.
Surtain is out.
Okay, so yeah, you can play anybody you want. I think that hurts their defense significantly. Their defensive line and pressure that they get is a little scary for Stroud with that terrible offensive line. So I'm probably kind of staying away from that offense entirely, and I'll probably just do stacks just from the other side, 2-man stacks.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense here. And still, they played Braxton Berrios a lot, right? That was like the big thing with this Texans offense. This still didn't feel exactly clean. Like Jalen Noel's not going to be out there on the field the entire time, right? And you get Nico Collins back. Like, can you even trust Nico? And if you can't trust Nico, can you trust anyone in this offense? And against this Broncos defense, I know Surtain's not playing. The answer to me is no. You got Christian Kirk back in the mix. Like, who knows what they're going to do at the wide receiver spot? Nico Collins, almost like he is a great talent. He's a great player, but it's like almost they showed like, oh yeah, we don't need to scheme it to one player here. We'd prefer to target 8 different dudes. And honestly, I'm kind of out on Houston entirely, and it doesn't scare me at all because we've seen this offense absolutely struggle in the past. As far as Denver goes, like, it's a very similar situation in terms of how many guys they can target, but at least we know Franklin and Sutton are going to be like the 2 leaders in the receiving room. I can't say the same about Houston.
Well, they're elevating. Did you see who they're elevating? Mercedes Lewis to the roster. So maybe I was going to be playing a lot of Ingram because like they kind of struggle against the pass. They don't struggle against the tight end, but I was like, well, Ingram's kind of more of like a wide receiver build. But if they're elevating Mercedes Lewis, that makes me worried about the pass game there. Yeah, dude, he's a Michigan man. You always got to trust, our Michigan wide receivers. But
you're going to get him at extremely low ownership, right? Like that's the number one thing to kind of address. And like right now he's projecting for literally 1% out. Like people, I'm not going to hate on anyone who has top 5 wide receiver potential on any given week.
Yeah,
at 0 ownership, right? But yeah, he'd be the only guy I think I'd have from the Texans tomorrow. And maybe the Texans defense I can be talked into too, Felix, just because like we have seen Bo Nix struggle. They do have a great offensive line and stuff, but only 2,900 for that Texans.
What we always talk about with Bo Nix is that he's streaky, and right now he's on a positive streak. I don't know if this is the week to be targeting against them, but maybe I'm not gonna say don't play the Texans, but I won't be.
Yeah, no, I get that. 100%. We'll move on from that lackluster game and move on to the 49ers taking on the Giants here. Christian McCaffrey on the slate. Always pretty popular, without a doubt. I would say this too, right? With no Scatabo, Tyrone Tracy, one of those value guys that you talked about, or kind of alluded to earlier, being a good value at 5,100. However, there is, some spot where, could he be the bell cow in that room, right? Because if you're just isolated to the Giants here, you could still have Devin Singletary play a decent amount, as we have seen in the past. But this will be Tracy's first crack at it since, as the main starter since week 1 or 2. Was Scatabo, did he play week 1 or 2?
He played, but he didn't get significant work until the middle of the second game.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was trying to think, we saw Tracy in an expanded role last year. It was pretty good. Definitely better than 5,100. And then you have Wandale at 5,100 too, where the 49ers are one of the weakest teams against the slot in the entire league. So those top 3 guys with Dart, Tracy, and Wandale, I have interest in, Felix, and maybe you can throw in Theo. Then you flip to the other side of the ball here with the 49ers. Can you trust anyone outside of Christian McCaffrey? I mean, maybe you can trust Kittle at 4,800, but man, it just feels like a one-man wrecking crew here in San Francisco. What are you doing with this game?
So this will be another game I'm kind of targeting a little extra, just because I like the single stack with Dart to Wandale. I think that's an easy, a nice little easy package. And then I like to bring it back with Bourne and McCaffrey. I do like Bourne. I do think that Mac Jones targeted him and made him a Pro Bowler. It would have been a Pro Bowler had he stayed healthy just a few years ago. I do think they have a connection. And it could be another big game here because this defense it's not elite.
No, not at all.
And I feel like they can burn them a little bit.
And we just saw what the Broncos put up 33 points in a quarter against the Giants defense. I can be talked into some Kendrick Bourne, especially for tournaments here. You do have Jawan Jennings getting healthier. You do have Kittle a couple weeks removed from returning from an injury as well. But with Bourne, I mean, it's another guy in the 1% range who we've already seen this season break a slate, especially a showdown slate, where I think he was very close to the top optimal captain that slate. I think Kyron ended up taking that lineup or whatever. But I like that call, Felix, because we know he's going to be out there a long time because, with Jawan Jennings, no Pearsall still. I mean, it's just going to be Jennings, Bourne, Kittle, and McCaffrey out there for the majority of the game. And against this Giants defense at 5K at 1% owned, I can definitely be talked into that. And with CMC, is the path to fitting both Chase and him together in the same lineup? You think that's viable and possible?
Yeah, you definitely can play the running backs against each other this week. They're with how cheap he is, and then they're going to run the ball through those people. So yeah, I definitely see that.
Our guy BKGJ goes with the 40 burger. Who's putting up 40? Is it going to be San Francisco? The Krabby Patty secret formula, the Batty 40 burger. All right, I respect it. This game, with the Giants right now, ever since they switched the dart, their games have been pretty explosive at times.
Yeah, so, I don't mind making dart this week at all. Either it's definitely one of those plays.
One of my props will be Wandale later, just so you know. Just with how bad the 49ers are against the slot.
I'm on that. Just say you just have extra money, just saying you don't have to force.
Facts. That's true. I just wanted to prelude that when we do our pick six at the end of the show. Wandale, I highlighted that a couple weeks ago when they went against Pitts and stuff, but I want to attack these teams that are like the weakest in a certain regard, and the 49ers fit that bill for us. 3v3 real quick before we go to Colts and Steelers, which I was astounded that the spread was the way it was when I last checked. But you have a 3v3 here. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pitts, and Parker. I need a second on that. Who's the Parker?
Parker Washington.
It has to be Parker Washington.
I don't know the other Parker. Sorry.
Then J-Mo, Kraft, and Brian Thomas Jr. If I had to go with a gut shot, my gut shot is 1 there because you're getting the better wide receiver, slightly worse than and then J-Mo has been a walking 0.
With the rise of Christian Watson, I'm gonna have to go with ASB. Even though it's a tough decision, but I'm gonna go with ASB because just get the elite wide receiver.
True. All right, so I wanted to double check this spread. I was watching a lot of this World Series too, and you just talk football, you talk baseball, you talk everything, and then my dad's a Steelers fan, right? So he grew up about an hour away from Pittsburgh, and he thinks the Steelers, he thinks that they're just bipolar, right? You either get them, on a good day, or you get them on a bad day. And, against the Green Bay Packers, they had a good first half, a terrible second half, especially with that defense. We were both shocked. I want to say it opened at like 1.5. Now it's finally -3.5. I want to say that it opened very tight, and I didn't want to miss.
It opened that tight?
Yeah, I believe so. I got to check that because we were both shocked by that. And now it is -3.5 for the Colts here, which, ESPN used to put the spread. Opened at -2.5. That's what it was.
Okay.
Both kind of shocked, which it's still a field goal. It's in the margin, right? Because 27-24, becomes a loss instead of a win when you win by 3. Right? Obviously, that's how betting works. I know everyone knows that here watching it, but shocked by that because this Steelers defense and the way the Colts are an absolute wagon right now. How are they going to stop Jonathan Taylor?
They're not.
Are they in 2025 going to stop Daniel Jones, Tyler Warren? And this Steelers defense hasn't shown a pulse unless they're forcing turnovers. Like the Packers, every time they got the ball in the second half, you thought one thing. Well, I mean that's points, right? They're going to score here. And again,
everybody's had one of their better games against this defense. Is kind of washed, I think.
It's bad. It's almost as bad as the Bengals. I mean, as the Cowboys, it almost needs to belong in that tier of defenses. And Felix, should I even have any faith in the Steelers defense?
Yes, in the offense. We should be able to say they're going to be able to keep up. I do think they lose handedly. I do think they lose by like 10. Personally, but I do think they're going to keep it close, and then I think, this is going to lead to more of what I think that's going to happen this week. I'm going to play a lot of Daniel Jones and his overs this week. I think it's going to be a Daniel Jones game. I'm going to fade. Probably, I'm probably going to get Saquon myself again this week and fade JT, and I'm going to overload a lot of Daniel Jones Pittman this weekend and sprinkle in quite a bit of Tyler Warren.
It was funny because I got away with the JT underweight take last week because all the other running backs went off.
Oh, yeah.
But my thought was, they're going to be up by 30, right? He might not play the fourth quarter. That's exactly what happened, and he was busting off long runs. the Steelers secondary is incredibly bad. They're still able to kind of generate pressure. It's not at the same elite clip that they have in years past, but the secondary is getting toasted, absolutely toasted. But the rushing defense is still, it's below average, but it's not as bad as the secondary, right?
Yeah.
The price tag for Jonathan Taylor is now kind of getting slightly out of reach, right? Especially if we have interest in Jamar Chase. If we didn't have interest in Jamar Chase, you didn't have McCaffrey over 1,000 less with the floor on DraftKings, right? Because on FanDuel, that becomes a different conversation. But the price is at 9,800. It just feels slightly out of reach. I do like going with the Daniel Jones call, pairing it up with Warren, pairing it up with like a Pierce or a Pittman, right? Because you have options. And honestly, these guys, you look at their ownership here on the right side, all under 10%.
Yeah. Plus, like, and then you're gonna bring it back with a nice little Roman Wilson again, another Michigan guy this week. He's finally starting to get more and more involved in this offense, and he's getting the trust from the guy you have to get trust from before he starts throwing you the ball. And I think the offense is starting to kind of connect, even though they're losing games. I feel like they're slowly getting together, like to get on a roll offensively. And I think if it wasn't for like one penalty call, I feel like that kind of threw them off their game last week, or their non-call. I do think that they come back and they keep it close for a while, and then Daniel Jones kind of puts it in the bucket and shuts them off.
That non-call you were talking about was a clear offside against the Green Bay Packers that Aaron Rodgers thought he had a free play on. And it was like 3rd and 8 at the time. And that definitely you could tell Rodgers was just holding my garage on that.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Any interest in a very chalky Jaylen Warren at 5,500? He is one of my least favorite.
I'm going to say I'm out on that. I don't know why he's getting so much love. I mean, maybe they see something I don't, but I think this defense is not half bad against the run. It's not like amazing or anything, but it's not half bad. I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I don't like that at 5,500. When we have so much value, so many good players, like this is where Monangai for me becomes a great play, because even if he is like 30-something%, and it probably should be higher in single entry and stuff like that, but I think that's kind of where he'll end up, is 35-40%. If Jaylen Warren's half that, I'm like, I'm gonna go with the Monangai all day. I don't really get it, because Gainwell can still be very involved.
He's splitting carries already. I mean, yes, Jaylen Warren has taken the majority right now. But yeah, Kenneth Gainwell had himself a day in London and can show that Arthur Smith has no problem messing with a running back room. So I'm not touching that. Yeah.
I am with you there. We'll move on from this game here, and we'll go to the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New England Patriots. The big news surrounding this one, Ramondre Stevenson is out. I don't know if I can trust Travion Henderson.
It's so wild.
I don't know if I can trust Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I was like, I trust Trey, but I don't trust Mike Vrabel, man. I don't even know who they brought in to back him up, but I already know he's going to get more work than he needs.
Yeah, Terrell Jennings will be the guy backing up, or splitting time with Travion Henderson might be the better word there.
I don't know.
Here's the issue, Felix. A lot of people saw this Falcons team do terrible against this Miami Dolphins offense last week. That was the first time they allowed a 200-yard passer all season, was Tua Tagovailoa. Going into Foxborough, this is a very tough rebound spot. But I do think this defense will recover well, and it means I'm not interested in May, Diggs, Boutte, or anyone. And if there is a person I'm interested in, it's just Travion from this New England side. You flip it over, you flip the page, Bijan Robinson, 8,700, same thing. However, I do want to start playing these guys with immense talent at ownership, where you saw it with James Cook last week. He was like 10% owned or something, which in hindsight, James Cook in a smash spot, only 10% owned. That's the type of play that I really want to get over on. And Bijan's going to be one of those guys where, I do want to get, 15, 20%. I don't know if I'd play him in a main team at all, but it's just the running backs in this one for me. And Penix, he's just been shaky at best, and Drake London's been inconsistent. Just the running backs for me. Felix, what do you think?
I'm open to Drake May, because I do think the corners are good enough to cover, leaving open spots for potentially a lot of running this week and a lot of dump offs to Travion. So I'm going to have that weird pairing where it's a quarterback and running back here and without the other pieces, and then bring it back with a potential Drake London, but not needed.
See, that's my fear. It's just like they had a lot of touchdowns last week, the Dolphins. They still only threw for like 205 yards, right?
Yeah.
And that's the most they've given up through the air all season. They played some really good teams, Josh Allen and the Bills, being one of those teams, and the 49ers. I just like, I don't know. I'm like coming over that personal hurdle of like, do I click anyone against this Falcons team? But
I always say Drake May because he's on this MVP type season. Are they going to try to push this narrative forward? I don't know.
And that's it. I'm interested in the Pats defense a little bit. Patriots give it up to pass catching backs. Who's one of the best in the league at that? Michael Scott. You know it. That's why you said that. Bijan Robinson, and then ABJ. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. The Raiders with Brock Bowers price tag, which again, you know me and my spend up tight ends, Felix. I haven't gotten a chance to play much Bowers this season. It looks like that will change. But you're already you mentioned it. Drake May at an MVP level is the one thing where I won't hang up the phone. Right? You're calling, you're saying Drake May is good play, and it's because of his individual talent, right? Yeah. It can succeed that. I'm going to battle that one tonight. I'm going to be like, man, which path do I go? Right now, I'll fence it, and I'll have Bijan and Travion Henderson as the two best. But yeah, if Drake May did well tomorrow, I'd kick myself. I'm like, yeah, of course, he's been playing at the highest level in the league. That's my thought process there.
I like to stay when somebody's hot. I like to play the hot side. I don't really like to stray too far unless they're like an elite defense on the other side, which, like you're saying, they haven't really given up a lot. But they are known to have some cracks in the little bit of the running game area, like the running back area. So I'm like, if he maybe catches a couple passes, like I wouldn't be surprised. And then if himself runs some.
The anti-Carolina Panthers mindset from Felix. We'll go into the Chargers and Titans. Yeah, you would have given Rico Dowdle the ball a lot more. It wouldn't have taken you 2 whole weeks to figure that out. All right, we'll move on to your favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers, taking on the lowly Tennessee Titans. Kamani Vidal looked great last week, man. Thursday Night Football, amazing. You have Aronde Gadsden, who's just been an absolute stud. He is now at 5,300. Who would have saw that coming 4 weeks ago, man? Great to see that. I mean, you saw the talent at Syracuse. You mentioned it too. Going into the preseason, going to the camp, lots of buzz from Herbert and the guys. So, another weapon for Herbert and the rest of this team. To me, I like overstacking the Chargers a little bit. They are implied for a lot of points. Herbert, Vidal, I think McConkey and Gadsden would probably be my top 4. However, if I'm trying to run it back, is my guy DK here at 3,900 the best option to run it back with, Felix?
I'm going to always probably side with Mayonnaise. I think DK is a decent play. Do you remember? I don't know if you were old enough to remember Alan Hearns and Allen Robinson. That duo the Jags. Okay, I don't. I think DK is more the Allen Hearns and Allen Robinson is more the Mayonnaise guy. So I'm like, I'm gonna sprinkle in some DK as the burner, the guy that can get over the top. But if we want the actual work, I'm gonna go with Mayonnaise and that'll who I would like to bring it back with. That means they're working it down the field. They're getting somewhere.
Yep.
They still lose, but they get somewhere.
That makes sense. It makes sense there. And especially with these price tags the way they are, 3,900, 3,800, the volume is going through them with Cam Ward. Cam Ward has struggled, right? There's no secret at all. You have the Pollard and Spears split backfield. So those are the only 2 options for me because we know that Chigokonkwo and Gunnar Helm are also splitting time at the tight end. Yeah. Only 2 guys viable in Tennessee for me are those 2. Yeah. Flip it over. Talk about your Chargers here. I mean, you can gush all day about them. I know that. Go ahead. You have the green light.
Okay. Unfortunately, I did get a Najee Harris jersey for my birthday for my mom, but I do love Vidal, even though it came pretty much on the second half of the game last week. I do think that no Haskins, it's Jarrett Patterson and another random dude. It's going to be all Vidal. I think they're going to give him all the work, see what he can handle. So he will be a mainstay of a lot of my lineups. And then I've been getting to a lot of Lad. But I'm not mad at the amount of ownership I've got to Keenan, but I'm probably going to be over the weight on Ladd and Vidal.
Can I have a slightly hot take? Keenan falls off the later we go into the season with Gadsden's rise, with Trey Harris's rise. Keenan might be the odd man out completely. And Quentin Johnston's already kind of been an odd man out, but Keenan falls off even more. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I'm curious how Gadsden plays this week. I could see a slight dip, but I would be even more excited to get more of him if he does well this week, like later in the season.
Last question for you, Vidal. How much of him for you tomorrow?
I'm probably personally going to be about 30 to 40% of my 150.
Kind of feeling the same way. I got him in my main fantasy team, my classic league too, and I'm excited about it. He's got a great projection across every single site. ESPN's got him at a very high number too. So many good running backs though, right? So like it wouldn't shock me if I came in below that 30% number, but you're still looking at about 15% ownership overall. So any mark above that is good. He's a main team type of guy too. If I fell at 6,300 in my utility or running back spot, he would definitely be. I wouldn't say like an easy click, but you would definitely be a mindless click.
I can see the getting ahead, but a couple of touchdowns with McConkey and Gadsden, and then the rest of the game just a lot of Vidal.
And what did they do last week with him when they got ahead? Pounded him, man. All right, let's move on to Green Bay taking on Carolina. Much has been made about the Carolina situation in the backfield. Well, when you keep giving the rock to Chuba Hubbard, who looks slow, hurt, and just absolutely awful, and you don't give it to the Ferrari, which is Rico Dowdle. Who would have thought I'd be saying that 6 weeks ago? Rico Dowdle's the Ferrari on this slate. Your offense will struggle when you have Andy Dalton, who was in the same draft class as Cam Newton, who's been retired for some time now, leading your quarterback room. Your offense is going to struggle. However, they do get Bryce Young back. They are going to give Rico Dowdle a larger workload. You have Ted McMillan, who has absolutely stepped up in recent weeks too. There are things to like. The spread shocked me. I mean, I'm going to say that, Felix. I was kind of expecting, again, I know I already said this, but like I always go through the spreads, especially with my, going through it with my family and stuff, with my dad especially. But we were both like, guessing the spread in this game. We both kind of said 9.5, 10.5, right? I came in at 13, man.
It's pretty
18. Big. I was shocked. And I mean, it makes sense with the way the Panthers have looked, right? Like last week was an absolute dud spot. But man, should I be respecting this Green Bay offense? And should Josh Jacobs be one of those plays who is under-owned, who you should probably have in your lineup? Because we just saw last week what James Cook did to this defense, right?
Yeah. So the splits for Bryce Young, road and non-road, is terrible. So like I get it. I'm on board for this big difference. And for Josh Jacobs, they're giving Emmanuel Wilson a lot more work. So I could see why he's not hitting his peak. He could definitely have a 3-touchdown game, 20 carries for 120 yards. But last week he was coming off of something. I can't remember exactly what injury it was or sickness. And so I can see why it was a little bit lower. And this offense is hella spread out. So it can go to anybody, and anybody can have a huge game. Kraft had a huge game last week. There's so many options now.
That's exactly my problem with Green Bay.
Yeah.
Who's going to show up for him? And now Christian Watson back in this mix had a way larger role than I expected. And this is the thing. I'm a big Christian Watson fan, Felix. I think, you drafted with us on those shows and stuff. I'm like, oh, man, I'm always sitting at 40, 50% Christian Watson in baseball. This year, I didn't go that route because like week 10, week 11, he's going to return. Then they're going to scale him up for 3 weeks, and he's going to pull a hammy, and he's going to miss the playoffs for baseball. They throw him straight into the fire. I'm going, where's that the last 2 years, right?
Exactly.
he comes in. He's looking great, right? Because we all know Christian Watson's a great talent. We all know he is capable of some really good stuff. I look at that, and I'm like, damn, that's another guy we have to consider in this mix. And this is without Jaden Reed. You have literally 5 or 6 guys who can contribute at any given play. That might be lowballing it. You could have, 6 or 7, right? I just don't know. That's the issue with Green Bay. That's why I can't stack them too much, right? Josh Jacobs. I don't like Kraft this week at 5,700 because I like a lot of tight ends that are in this 5K range. Gadsden just being one we talked about. Bowers, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And then talking about game environment, you're talking about Emmanuel Wilson. That's exactly it. His role has just been steadily increased because they want to keep Jacobs fresh for the long haul. And this game, despite Green Bay having a great team total, I'm not in on them, and it just mostly has to do with the volume.
How do you feel about a Jordan Love naked stack or naked team? Because he's gonna get there probably.
Man, my
just
issue,
raw points.
Yeah, raw points is what you'd be looking at. I want to compare other quarterbacks in this range, right? Because like you'd be wanting them to beat out in this range, Daniel Jones, right? Jared Goff in a Minnesota spot. You got Caleb Williams, right? Who's 5,700. I just think he's going to get squeezed for me. But if you did nail the stack, right? Like if you did guess who is going to get the touchdowns for Green Bay, it's going to be low owned. It really is, despite a great team total, like we said.
Yeah, I go back and forth. Like, well, I guess I could just throw him in there. Like, if it just happened to be, I built everything else out and then left the quarterback, and it was Jordan Love. I wouldn't be mad about it. I guess is what I was getting at.
Yes, that is true. I wouldn't be mad about that either. Juan, you give me two. I'm going to pick two wide receivers for you. Deebo Samuel. I'm thinking Addison amongst that top row there, Felix. Deebo, DK, Addison, Butte, Johnson. I think I would rank him Deebo, Addison, DK, Butte, and then Johnson I think would be last for me. And then at running back or flex, and I think it's got to be Travion Henderson. I know
I would say Addison, Booty, Henderson is where we're going to go here.
You're going to go Booty over Deebo?
Yeah, I'm not feeling the Washington vibe right now. And they just upgraded Treylon Burks, which is I hated him first year, loved him the second year, and now it's like I'm ready for the comeback season.
The comeback season is here for our third-year wide receivers. We love them. We love our washed third-year, fourth-year wide receivers on the show. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Minnesota is going to go with J.J. McCarthy here, right? He's only 4,900. Detroit, though, is a little bit of a wagon. I really like the shape, the makeup of this team. I think that they really are going to be a force to reckon with when it matters. And this is a division game, and it does matter. I like Amon-Ra. He's going to be double-digit owns. I like Jameer a little bit, but AK is going to be kind of in that spot where I'd rather have like Bijan, who's going to be a little bit lower owned as well. You flip the page over. Can I trust J.J. McCarthy to get the ball to Justin Jefferson at 7,800? I'm kind of on the fence on that. Jordan Addison, we have seen good games from him already. This game on paper, though, in a dome, looks good, Felix. Who are the best clicks? I mean, Amon-Ra and Gibbs feel like good clicks, but they're also expensive.
Yeah. If I'm paying down at a quarterback, I'm paying for my boy J.J. McCarthy. Took me to a national title. Cheating, not cheating, I don't care. We won it. So I'm going to be pairing him up with Addison and Jefferson and sprinkling in some Hawk. Just because I'm still on the train. I will always be until the day I die. My young quarterback, tight end. Let's get it together. I think we could show some here and surprise a little bit of Detroit of how close they can keep it. I do think that Detroit dominates. My favorite running back is on this play. For the pay up running back, which is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think not only are the vibes good with him playing Jeff Hardy with his smoke show of a lady friend, I'm just saying the vibes are good right now with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to go off for 2 tutties, probably 150 yards doing something. I'm not sure.
I like it. Baho Jenkins, Rome Odunze for you, my guy. I think Odunze is going to have a great day for you. Get back to that Game 7 of the World Series, too. We got 3-1 is the last I looked. Felix Otani gave up a 3-run shot in the third inning. Yeah. The Dodgers got a run back, and then it's looking like the end of the fourth just happened. So good stuff. And Jetty, that's the thing. I think Carolina covers 13.5, but that'll be interesting, man. And I like the Jahmyr Gibbs take 8K, and we have seen this Minnesota defense. I don't want to say it's been like off and on because what they have shown against like the Bengals, for example. I know that was with Browning, but they killed it, right? Yeah. And then last week against the Chargers, it was like, well, they didn't kill it, right? So I like the Gibbs take because we just saw what Vidal did to them. We just saw what the entire offense. I think this is going to be kind of a similar thing where I think the Lions kind of cruise. It's a one-way street for me.
Yeah.
Did J.J. McCarthy cheat for that title? Probably. No, I'm kidding. I'll be honest. I think figuring out signs, I'm kind of on Connor Stallion's side. I never said that, but I really don't think I didn't.
I think we were taking it down, and I don't think we were being stopped that year, regardless.
Yeah, I really don't either. And honestly, Ohio State has no excuses for not beating Michigan. And I say that as a fan. And Ryan Day better get his shit together this year. And he better, because there's no excuse this year, man. There's no excuse with the absolute wagon. Sayan's going to win the Heisman. So I know I always say on the show that I'm a huge Sorsby guy, Felix, for UC. Yeah. I got him at 125 to 1. He's down to 45 to 1. That means nothing, right? It goes from a 0.5% to but I do think Sayan's now your front runner, especially after this one.
Yeah.
BKGJ, my buddy Lambeer in our Discord, he had this biggest DFS week in about a year. He was having a losing year up to this point, and then all of a sudden now he's up like 10K on the year. You know how he did it? He just like started trusting the projections a little bit more for Runpier.
I have.
Yeah, he literally I spent 3 minutes doing this I just put it in the core, and then I just locked everyone, and then I ran the highest round. I was like,
I will say the projections are amazing. I used to try to make my own projections. It wasn't great, so coming over to SaberSim, running the sims, and taking what I do, like what my specific favorite plays are, and then trying to injecting it into what the SaberSim likes, has worked out so much better for myself. Trust the SaberSim, trust the Runpier Sports projections. It's elite.
Trust me, as someone who has physically been I don't want to build right now, sometimes it's best to take your 5 favorite plays, lock them in, and run the top projected team. And, make sure one of those guys, make sure it's not just 5 of the top owned guys, but all of a sudden you get a couple of pieces that are low owned, you're still putting in all, much of your takes, but yeah, just, kind of rifle it that way where it's less taxing on your mind too, which, it's fun to play fantasy sports, right? We still keep it fun, right? Go to the bar.
Just don't get too cute. That is my biggest flaw doing these things, man. I try to let's get a couple of these cheap guys, these really low owned guys. You don't need all that. Sometimes it is the main plays, and you get away you stray off too far because you're trying to think too galaxy brain. Sometimes you don't need to get too far away from the path.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And BKGJ, that's on SaberSim's website, which love SaberSim. Absolutely adore him. Won my 10K yesterday with them. I use them all the time. If you hit up Big T, DM him. He might give you a special promo for Runpier Sports as well there, BKGJ. All right. Jags taking on the Raiders. Travis Hunter getting hurt in practice is the big news, right, Felix? You got a little bit of a surprise there. You got Brock Bowers, who I am trusting is back to full health, and he is going to be his cheapest tag all season at this point. A few good plays. It's kind of a messy game, right? I can't say enough bad things about Geno Smith and the Raiders for what they've done lately, right? It's just been an absolutely negative. But when you have been missing your best offensive piece and he finally returns, I do think things are going to get better for them overall. With the Jags, Travis Hunter going out right after he blossomed with a 100-yard game there overseas. And did they play last? It was 2 weeks, right? They had a bye week last week, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, did they? I'm trying to think because I remember because I laddered.
The Jags played last week.
Was that the morning game? It had to be. Yeah, they October 19th. So they did have a bye. That's what I thought. I was going to say it was the
I'm a little off, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But what this does with Hunter's absence, right after he was just getting the most snaps for them over the last 2 weeks of the wide receiver, he ran the most routes for them, which is huge. Now you got De'Ami Brown stepping back up. You got Parker Washington. 2 great values. Both are going to be owned a decent bit here. What are your takes, Felix?
So I've never been a De'Ami Brown guy. I feel like it's too fluky. Parker Washington has actually shown elite talent, though they don't include him into the offensive game plan enough. So to me, it's going to be ETN and Brian Thomas Jr. Even though I love Tootin more, I think those two are the main plays here for the Jag side. And then my booty call of the week is going to be Trey Tucker with Brock Bowers. I do like those two pieces on the other side.
So would you be double stacking some Geno here?
I'm not going to put Geno because I think you can get to the ultimate without him. You can get to the top without him. I don't think he provides you tip-top points.
Because, 4,600 for a guy who's got a 22-point team total at home isn't the worst, right? But we have seen so much bad from him that I'm having a tough time getting there, right?
Yeah.
I think I think the double stack there is nice, but you'd have to be like trying to get in CMC, Puka, Jamar.
Correct. Yes.
In the sense of getting at least 2 of those guys, and then maybe even 3 if you're playing Geno at 4,600. Like I don't know if that's possible. Actually, I haven't like fiddled with that type of build yet. But like that's the path for Geno, is it opens up these other studs where he's only 4,600. This is the Nash and Genty spot, though. Like, I do think this is the week. Bowers, Genty, like if there was a week for the Raiders to kind of get going, it is against this Jags team who has been a little bit rough around the edge. I just had a hard time predicting what they're going to do next, right? Like the Rams traveled late to London and beat their butt 35-7, right? They lose to the Seahawks 20-12. They beat the Chiefs somehow, which 31-28. They had a pick 6 there that kind of did it. But this team has not been that great, and that's where I'm kind of struggling with. And they might be 4-3, but I think on paper that these two teams are pretty even for the most part, and it just depends on which Geno we get. Yeah, I'm going to have interest in stacking this one up because I can't believe this. Like, I like Parker Washington as a wide receiver in the NFL.
I do too. I like Parker Washington. I hate Donnie Brown. I don't think he brings a lot to the team.
I mean, this is a good question too, right? 6,200 for BTJ. Trevor Lawrence 5,400. Could you double stack him up with BTJ and then Parker?
It's the problem is that Trevor Lawrence has just been so bad that it's like, can we trust him to not throw hospital balls? So Travis Hunter was making these miraculous catches because Trevor Lawrence wasn't really getting it to where it needed to be. Now these two teams on the defensive side both just suck. So like, yes, he can easily get there, but it's tricky.
I think I'm going to trust it against better judgment, Felix. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to have some double stacks in this game. And Bowers and Washington, for me personally, will be high owned just individually as well. Genty will kind of be in that mix, and the others will be kind of stacking pieces. But I do like the Trey Tucker thing just because the upside, UC guy, no ownership too. This is where those Bowers play, right? Bowers going to be individual.
Bowers brings him to a good play here because he takes some of the underneath stuff where he can get Tucker over the top, and I think that's some of how like what they like to play with.
And you're exactly right. Like, is it harsh to judge this Raiders team that outside of 1 or 3 quarters of this season has been without their best player on the offensive end? So you could really see this team kind of take off. That's the gamble I'm playing with, Felix, is that Bowers makes this offense so much better, or not ass, and they're able to kind of succeed at that point. So that's where I'm kind of going. Rance, could it be Tootin? Could it be Tootin? I would not be shocked if he lost some touches to Tootin.
I would love for it to be Tootin for my best ball bags, but I still think he has a little bit of the reins on it. I think give him 1 or 2 more weeks, and Tootin's going to take this job over.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way, especially after a bye week. The rookie running backs are nice. Lawrence, potential rushing touchdown. He has been running the ball at a decent clip.
Running it better too. Yeah, I agree. But throwing hasn't gotten any better, unfortunately.
Yeah. No one's going to deny that. Saints taking on the Rams here. Puka 8,500. It's one of those things where will there be enough volume for him? Right. He missed 2 weeks ago when they were playing in London, missed that game. Had a bye week to get healthy. Devontae Adams crushed in his spot, not with yards, but with touchdowns. Kyron Williams is the bell cow back. You got Stafford. This Rams team overall has just been fantasy football winners. If anyone has Rams offense, they probably have a winning record in fantasy, right? So you look back on the other side of the ball. Welcome Tyler Shuck, U of L, L's up. That's I don't know what to think, man. I'll be honest. I think there was a lot of physical appeal to Shuck, right? Like he's got the NFL build. He improved every year in college. Transferred to Louisville for his last season of college football. I never saw it.
I don't think he's any good. Yeah.
There are 99.99% of the people in the NFL are smarter than me, except the coaches who I hate. Like there's some coaches making components. Like I never saw it with Shuck. I never saw it with JJ McCarthy personally. He got you a championship. I'm not complaining, but it is one of those things where I got zero interest in any of these Saints pieces with the rookie quarterback stepping in, and with the Rams. Could this just be such a blowout that none of these Rams get there? That's my big concern with these guys. Felix, what do you think?
Yeah, so we almost bring it back to last week for a real quick thing. We would have hit the Kamara play if he hadn't gotten hurt because Devin Neal went off of the passing game with Shuck there. So I'm not going to be playing any of the Saints guy except for Juwan Johnson. And I only bring this up because they were teammates at one of the schools that he went to. And as soon as he came in, he was targeting him at like an extreme rate. I really don't want to be playing any Saints, really. But if I do, it's going to be Juwan Johnson. And my favorite play of the Rams side is definitely going to be Kyren. I think they're going to get up. They're going to pound the rock over and over and over again with Kyren. I can see 2 TDs. He's going to be on my 2 TD parlay for this week. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about playing him this week.
You know what? I can get behind that. But outside of that, I don't really think I have anything else to add about it. It's just like one of those games, right?
Yeah. They played each other last year, and it was a Kyren. It was a Kyren and a tight end spot for the other side. So
makes sense, right? Makes sense. Could this be Corum, your other Michigan guy, right? This isn't the slate to do it.
Michigan guy, I love him to death, but I don't know. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm just trying to think, right? And this is only 3-4 o'clock games, and I love the way the NFL did that because I'd rather have all the eyes on Chiefs Bills personally.
Dude, it's everybody's be watching the next game for sure.
And with those short slates, and if James Cook doesn't score, for example, it's not like you're going to be throw the play Hunter Pacheco. Just talking about afternoon slate, I might throw in a Corum dart in that afternoon slate once I'm killed on main slate. All right, we'll move on from that game here. We'll go to the Chiefs and Bills. The Chiefs with Rashee Rice, who had a really slow start last week and then got going in the second half, ended up scoring. I'm going to be quite honest with you here, Felix. Fantasy-wise, I think this is slightly overhyped.
I think it's a little ugly too. Yeah,
I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to watch this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a good football game. Turn off Red Zone. Go to watch this game. That's what you want to do here.
And I'm going to take a victory lap because I haven't gotten to be on an NFL show. Anyone who played Pacheco Monday, thank you. Right, it led to my great Monday. Why did anyone think the role changed? Kareem Hunt got hurt. It was a blowout against the Raiders. Of course, Pacheco is finally going to get some carries. That role never flipped. Kareem Hunt is still the goal line guy. Kareem Hunt is still the guy they trust in short yardage situations. Nothing changed. All right, I just had the victory lap that because Pacheco came in super chalk. Kareem Hunt came in unknown, and nothing changed except a fluke injury in the first quarter that led to Hunt taking it easy the rest of the game. But yeah, that running back situation on a main slate, no. But even then, Kareem Hunt's projected too high right now because they overreact.
Way too much.
Projections were completely flipped on Monday. It kills me. It kills me. It's Pacheco out. Oh my God, I missed that.
Yeah. I was saying it's all Brashard Smith for me, baby.
Oh my! I completely whiffed on that because he got his knee. I can't believe he was able.
There were so many injuries this week. I'm not blaming anyone for not knowing a certain person's going to be not injured this week. It's so crazy.
I just assumed that they overreact to the projection. Can Kareem Hunt get 15 touches in this game? I think I'm going to lead off with that. You talk about the Kareem Hunt situation.
So yeah, I was a little curious where you're going with that, but I was going to let you ride with it. So sorry about that. Yeah, I think Brashard Smith steps in and takes that role immediately, and they leave Kareem Hunt where he's at. I think he's going to be doing just a straight, stick with your short area. We're going to leave you with short yardage, touchdown, goal line work, and it's going to be Brashard Smith working it down the field with them. They've been passing at a higher rate, so I don't be surprised if Xavier Worthy, if Rashee Rice end up with more rushing attempts in this game. I think that's how they rush, how they blend it in a little bit. It's going to be weird gadget plays like that. But I do think Brashard Smith does take the role here as the main ball carrier, and then they still leave Kareem Hunt where he's more comfortable in the short yardage games.
So the extension of the run game, right, where it's a lot of screen passes maybe out to the flat. Definitely could be Brashard Smith's bread and butter, right? He had 5 catches a couple weeks ago. I think he had 42 yards or whatever, which again, that is good stuff, right? There's stuff that you can value. And on the afternoon slate and showdown at 4,200, right? That's the type of stuff I can get behind. On the main slate, I don't know if I'm going to go there, right? I don't know if I can trust it on a main slate, but I do like that idea where it could be just a really heavy pass script, which I guess would kind of bring me back into this game a little bit, right? Where it's hey, maybe it's a little bit faster paced than I think. The Chiefs defense hasn't been great against the run, which Josh Allen and James Cook could cook a little bit, right? No pun intended. Yeah. But I just these are two teams where the gauntlet is going to be thrown. Whoever wins, they're going to be feeling really good when January comes around. It's going to have a little bit of that. We know we can do it against this team, and the Chiefs have known they can do it against this team every single year. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? Like,
So the thing is like I think they're going to be both really good here in a game. Like they're both going to show up. I just don't think that there's only two pieces I want from this game, and if I'm going to play them, is if I have a ability to spend up at a quarterback, I'm going to go naked Josh Allen. I do think that there's going to be more rushing attempts. He's going to be on national eyes. He's going to want to take control, of the game himself, be the Superman, and the Rashee Rice on the other side. I think he's just a really big part of that offense. And then I'll personally be sprinkling in Rashard Smith. Other than that, I think they're going to be spreading the ball around too much, and it's just not going to be fantasy worthy.
Well, I say it every time, right? Like there's the sweet spot's hard to hit, right?
Yeah.
So if you're playing Josh Allen, it could be like Shakir or Kincaid. I'd be slightly interested in. With Mahomes, it's Rice, and I'm not even. Kelsey had such a good week last week. I think I might throw him in, but I think that'd be about it. It's not like you can overstack these two guys too much. And I do like the naked Josh Allen thing at 7,300. You got plenty of salary to work with. Yeah, I could be convinced of that. And real quick, are you on Henderson over Hunt?
Henderson over Hunt, yes.
I am too, but good cases here. I can see the case being made for Hunt with the game environment, and if they don't trust Smith, you have your own take there, right?
I'm predicting for Bouchard, but they could easily say it's Kareem Hunt for 90% of it, and I'm just like wrong because clearly I thought that the 1 week that Henderson was going to take over, and that just didn't happen.
We both thought of that way. That was tough, and luckily he scored. P. Lally, we got 10% on Rice and 8% on 7% on Patrick Mahomes. Not terrible. Not highly owned or anything. I think Kelsey is slightly over-owned in this aspect too. I think that'll be slightly lower too. I know 4,600 is a good tag. I will say this: I'll take my L on Rashee Rice a couple weeks ago. I'll take it more gracefully now. He won me my money back on Monday. But yeah, I think 7,600. A fine play. I think there are pieces from this game. I'm not going to overstack it, though. But there are pieces that I can be a little bit sold on. Felix, play of the day. Before we do our pick six, let's go through our best plays of the day. I kind of gave Butthole Jenkins. I gave him that Rome Odunze one. That's not going to be my main play of the day, but he is going to be one of my favorite wide receivers. I can go ahead and go first. I'll give you time to check some things real quick. I think I'm gonna cut the line here, and because RPS ownership has Brock Bowers way too low, and I don't know if it's going to be that low. Right? Wow. It could be.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bowers shows up, shows everyone that hey, those weeks I played hurt. I was in massive pain. Now I'm back. I'm fully healthy. I'm ready to go. I'm raring to go. Brock Bowers. 18, scratch that. 20 DraftKings fantasy points tomorrow in the winner in the Millie Maker. That's my play of the day. Felix, who is your play of the day?
So my favorite play of the day, it's a little chalky. So my chalk favorite play of the day is Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that they got beat up by a sixth rounder. I don't know what round we drafted him last year by Vidal. We're talking about elite first-round talent. I think, we want to show everybody we're the bully. We're the kings of the North. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to destroy the Vikings this week. And yeah,
I like it. That's not overly on. We got 11% right now. I do. That's not too high owned. I usually had a rule. I think it was like.
Do I have him? I have him at 26% ownership. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, the RPS has them at 11, which I actually think is a little bit better than 26.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see it now. Yeah.
If you want to give an extra one, you absolutely can. I'm not
okay. Yeah, and then the people who come up here for Trey Tucker is our Trey Tuckers are going to be our Keyshawn Booty play of the day.
Yeah, well, you got that Boutte call a few weeks back. You're going with Trey Tucker here, 1% owned wide receiver with 20-point upside. I love it. I love it. OS in the Discord or something like that. I can't do it on this show though. We got DraftKings. We are a DK partner on the site. We'll go ahead and go into our pick six. Felix, I'm gonna make a slight call here. I'm going to go with 4 legs is what we're going to do. All right. We're going to go down 4 legs this week. Okay. All right. I got a 50% winnings boost. It's I think it was a Halloween special or something. We do try to hit the home runs. I respect it. Right. But I need to see one go through the hoop. That's what I need. I need to see one go get a bucket. I'll start us off with, like I said earlier, there was a couple that I had, right? But I'll start us off. Brock Bowers, over 55.5 receiving yards. All right. If I'm feeling good about 6, we might extend it. But Felix, what is your favorite pick 6 of the week?
Jahmyr Gibbs, 104 rushing and receiving over.
I love it. Rushing plus receiving, 104.5. We're going with the over for him. What I say earlier, Wandale, you target the slot against San Francisco. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do for my second one here. We're going to go with the receiving yards for Wandale Robinson. We are hitting the over 50.5 receiving yards for Wandale Robinson as well. Felix, all right. Number 2.
For the last leg of this 4-leg parlay, I would say less 187 yards passing yards for Bryce Young.
Ooh, less for Bryce Young. I can get behind any.
I think he either gets injured or he just gets pulled from the game because they're getting blown out by so much.
That defense has been very stuck, especially the pass rush for Green Bay. Yeah. Under 187.5 for Bryce Young. Yeah, I was looking at it, right? You had some guys that I was kind of looking at, like, Manungai, 75.5 feels like it's just slightly high, right? So I didn't want to just get, ready to roar and go and just jam in 6 legs. We got a nice
we have a nice 4 there. If you want to give like an extra one for the people, we can do that too. If they want
to. 50% boost is 25 to 375. If you wanted to add one, Felix, is there a special one that you like?
Jackson Dart, 36 rushing yard, 36.5 rushing yards over.
I do like that. That's a good one. I can get behind that one. Yeah. Lion Cubs, what's the best bang for your buck 150 max contest on DK? I like the 20 maxes a lot in terms of if you were looking for bang for your buck in terms of ROI, your 20 maxes are going to be nice. However, there's usually the 50 cent. They used to have 50%. I don't remember.
They have 50 cent. Yeah.
50 cent. Yeah. Honestly, it's a really good way to kind of not just learn, but also still maintain a good ROI because there's like a lot of ownership disparity between that and higher stakes. And you can get better plays. Like Manungai, for example, will come in probably 10% lower owned than the Millie Maker, right? Which, if you think Manungai is going to be really good, your ROI is going to be slightly better if he goes off. And the same thing, like that's why I had a great day in NBA yesterday, Felix, was a player named Jalen Tyson, who I think is an incredible NBA player, came in at like 14% owned despite being super cheap. And anytime you feel like you get a nut player at less than 15%, it's going to be a good day. I think they had a $2 one too. I'm trying to find the $2 one that I used to see.
I don't think that's there anymore.
That's just like that $1, that 20 max.
The 555 isn't terrible, but I mean you got to drop a lot of money to be maxing that out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know your bag situation, but yeah,
I think that 50 cents a great.
Yeah, if you're starting off and you want to get bang for your buck to practice your sims and you feel comfortable, do the 50 cent. See how you're doing. See how you are playing the slate. If you're playing too chalky, figure it out yourself at the 50 cent level. Progress to the 20, and if you feel like hey, I'd probably do with a little less competition, but I have the right place for 150 max. And you have the bankroll, 555.
Yep, I'm kind of there too. And Lion Cubs, like just for example, like I found better success with these smaller fields, like the $9 that did well yesterday. And it was like I can't even remember. I think it was a 60,000 prize pool. So what is that? Like 8,000 entrants or something like that. But like I haven't completed on like the 46,000 entrants, right? So it's like one of those things where if you can find like a contest where you can max it, that's like about 6,000-7,000.
There is a $2.
There is a $2. You know what? Beaner would know 100%. I thought there was, but like I could have been just imagining things. But the $5 flea flicker is a good one too. Like that one's again, like that one's another classic 150 max too. But yeah. I am ready to watch the World Series here. Felix, and I'm about to head out. UC football starts in 10 minutes too. I placed a good bet on UC plus 11.5. The line moved all the way from 8.5 to 11.5, and I decided to go against the grain there. So here it is: 40K prize pool, 23,000 people.
Yeah. Make it mini max.
That's a great one, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's the type of style I could be in. Even like the $1. I don't know if they have a $1 150, but I've seen that $2 round. I think they have the penny one too. Yeah, they got a penny one out there right now, which is literally $1.50.
Sometimes you got to tell yourself, like, if you did do like the max of 50 cents, you're like, you're spending $75 to enjoy the game, and you're also trying to make more back, right? Obviously, but it's like, you're still putting down some action, right? So it's not like a joke at all, and it's a field that we obviously talk about the millie here, but ownership and leverage and all that stays the same across all contests. All right, Felix, thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
thank y'all for watching. If Felix and I don't win $1 million tomorrow, we hope it's one of y'all. I mean, that's without a doubt. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope you had a great Halloween and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one, and bye-bye.